Hello, 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 ladies. This podcast is designed exclusively for you. This is her talk show where we dive into inspiring thoughts, ideas, and stories, all with one purpose to empower and uplift women like you. I'm Sabrina Victoria, your host and guide on this journey of self discovery and growth. I invite you to hit that subscribe button. Follow, like, and share. Together, we are creating a vibrant community of empowered women. Get ready to unleash your brilliance. Her talk show starts now.
We come to you every day with the best speakers, relationship coaches, spiritual mentors, trailblazers, business owners, authors, young hustlers, podcasters, entrepreneurs, fitness trainers, therapists, financial advisors, and more. We ask our guests one question. What do you know that I don't know? Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
Today, for this episode of Her Talk Show, we have had over 500 women grace this stage, and we are adding another one to the list today. If you're listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay so we can send you some love in the comments. Either way, if you are watching us, please share this video so we can get more eyes and more ears on the awesome content that we are sharing today. Today, we are talking to an amazing woman, Heidi Smith. She is a best-selling author, transformation guide, speaker, and Accelerated Evolution Academy master coach and trainer. Smith helps others make room for joy by letting go of limiting beliefs and painful emotions to embrace their true selves. Her best-selling book, Making Friends with the Boogeyman, oh, I love that, is packed with powerful insights and practical strategies from her own story of overcoming intense experiences, anxiety, and addiction. So super excited to have Heidi here today. Thank you, lady.
Thank you so much for having me, Sabrina.
Yes. So much stuff. First of all, love the name of your book.
Yes.
How did this come to be? I feel like this took a second.
Well, actually the book had a different title until about 2 months before it was published. So this definitely was an inspiration. And it just came to me that, my journey was, I was afraid for so much of my life. And I had terrible nightmares as a child. And, the journey that I take the reader through in the book is about me getting to know my dark side and me going in and exploring all of these, challenging, terrifying situations to find the wisdom and the joy and the power in those things. It really is about how, and a lot about this from your own experiences, is how each of us has the power to decide, what do we think about a situation? What is the meaning of this part of our history? And so this name, Making Friends with the Boogeyman, was me going into these dark places and recognizing that all of these painful emotions really were my allies, and that they were misunderstood and they just needed to be acknowledged and expressed. And then they shared all their power with me. So Making Friends with the Boogeyman transformed my life.
Wow. So stinking awesome. When did you decide to become an author?
Yeah, that's fairly recently. I mean, I love writing. Journaling is such a powerful tool for reflection and discovery and venting. I mean, the pages that I've written in my life to release anger and sadness and shame and guilt and all of these things, they need a place to go. And my journal was always a safe place where I could just be myself. And so I love writing, but I had never written for a purpose. Like this book, the purpose of this book was to share the message that whatever you have been through, it has been for you. There is a bright side. There is power in what you have experienced in your life, and it has created, the incredible being that you are. I mean, diamonds take an incredible amount of pressure to become the multifaceted, brilliant pieces that they are. Butterflies are completely, the caterpillars are completely destroyed. They're crushed so that there's nothing left of the old them before they evolve into these incredibly beautiful butterflies. So it's all about having the courage to mine for the gold in these experiences and to feel what's there, feel these emotions, and then they're like my emotions. And when I'm working with my clients, their emotions are like they're guides. They're harbingers of these beautiful messages for them. And it's a miracle what I see people, the insights that they come up with when they go into these places in themselves, and then they accept these dark places that they used to shut off or hide, and they reclaim these parts of themselves. And when you reclaim parts of you, you reclaim all the energy that has been holding these things back because of the fear of them. And so like my clients and myself, we all experienced this huge energy rush that now this energy can be used for other things. And I don't know that people recognize that. I think that's one of the lesser known facts about our emotions, is that when we feel them, things that we've been holding on to, things that we've been pushing down, and we reclaim them, as I said, then we get that energy back and we get to use it for the light now that we want to be in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to ask, as far as, there's people watching live right now. By the way, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. We love those that do stop by and hang out with us live. There's individuals watching live or on the replay, and they're listening to all the goodness you're saying. And they're like, yes, Heidi, cool, good on you. But my tragedy, my challenges, my issues are worse and different. What's your take on that? Can everybody transform their tragedy into triumph? Can everybody become friends with their boogeyman?
Yes, absolutely. If they want to. If they want to. It is all about a willingness, because when we are willing, we can do anything. And so what I would say to those people, this isn't, I don't know what your situation is. And whatever the experience is, honestly, the most important thing is how you feel about the experience. Like, that's the impact that it's still having on you, right? The incident itself is in the past, it's gone. The way that it lives on in us is the way we feel about it. And so this is where, the opportunity is, because we can change the way we think about things, which will change the way we feel about things, right? Wayne Dyer, one of my favorite quotes from him is, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And so that is unlimited power available to anyone that wants it. So what I know from my experience with coaching,
Here we go. All right. Sorry about that little technical moment. So what I know about my experience and now what I see with my clients is that, you know, when we are looking at these things from our past, we need support. We need support to go into these dark places that frighten us. And when we do something together, you know, there is nothing that can't be accomplished. That is my belief. And that is what I see over and over, is that when people reach out for help and they're not doing it alone, everything that I've done in my life, I've had help. I didn't have to do it alone. I always found the perfect guide in the perfect moment. And so it's making that choice that, yes, I want to be free of these limiting beliefs. I want to be free of these powerful emotions. And how do I do that? You know, asking the how question, how can I see things differently? How can this be to my advantage? As opposed to the why question of, why did this happen to me? Why is this so hard? Why doesn't anybody understand? Those can turn into a loop, like a loop that sucks away your energy. Whereas when you're asking how questions, that's a solution oriented question. That's you've made the decision in your mind that things can be different. And now you're looking for how, and your mind is a meaning making machine. So when you give it questions like, how can I do this? It's looking for the solution for you. And when you're giving it a question like, why did this happen to me? That's taking you down into the places that you've already been. And it's keeping you stuck where you are.
Absolutely. I love that. And what a small little tweak.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of the things that I love about podcasting is bringing women like you on who just say small little things. A lot of times we think to pivot our life, there's like all this change. Yes. And you start by just little tiny itty bitty tools or ideas or concepts like this, trading your why questions for how questions.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I want
And
to talk a little bit, you know, when you were talking about why is this happening to me, one of the things that kind of resonated with me was like the emotion of anger. And I remember being in victimhood and I was just angry. I was just like, why does this keep happening to me? Why is this a thing? Why is he doing this to me? And I was so angry. And I know that you talk a lot about how emotions are our allies. Can you expand on that?
absolutely. Well, anger is nature's motivator. That's what I think about anger. It's like you know, when you get angry, you have all this energy, right? You are like, I know for myself, I used to get very like I would get furious. Like if there was an injustice, you know, I would get up on my soapbox and I'd rally the troops and, you know, we would make a change. And that's what anger is for. Anger lets you know that there's something isn't right for you. Like you know, something isn't working for you. So like in this situation that you're talking about, this was not working for you. And so the anger was there to help you with the energy that you needed to do things differently, because it takes energy, right, to make a change. Change is scary, change can be scary. Change can be challenging. You know, we are going into the unknown. And this is, you know, our body is hardwired to protect us, to keep us safe, to keep us alive. And the unknown is danger, danger, danger. So like we're hardwired to avoid the unknown. So, you know, we need our anger to help us move forward and to do things differently. So all of our emotions, ideally, they're flowing, right? Emotions are energy in motion. So you have the anger, you express it, it moves through you, and you go forward, right? That is the ideal. What often happens is that, you know, I certainly had this situation, is I would get angry and I was told to push it down. Especially my experience as a female is nobody wants to see an angry woman. That's a bitch, you know, what's her problem?
Yeah.
You know, all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, push your anger down, push your anger down. And then, of course, expressed anger can turn into depression. It turns in on myself. It turned in on me, right? Because it has to go somewhere. So, you know, that's a thing that, a common thread that I see with my clients is people afraid to express their anger. And that really is an important thing that they need to get out of the way. And so working with me as a coach, or working with whatever resonates for your audience, whether they're working with a coach or a therapist or peer counselor, whatever the case is, somewhere safe for them to express their anger, because anger is not bad. There is nothing bad about anger. Where, you know, negative things can come in is how we express our anger and the actions we take. So if we allow our anger to control us, this is where, you know, yelling happens, and insults to people. And I would throw things. I threw things at a boyfriend of mine because I was so furious. I didn't know what to do. This isn't good, right? That's not productive. You know, we hear about situations where men are punching walls, etc., because they need to get the anger out. So the key is to acknowledge the anger early when it's happening, and to find ways to express it in a healthy way for you and everyone around you. Because the other thing that I've learned is that even when I'm not saying something about my anger, that energy is reverberating all around me, and everybody can feel it. Everybody can feel the anger. I know I can feel it when somebody's angry and they're not expressing it. It's like this dark energy. You know, my mother had a lot of anger, and so that was something that I grew up being very sensitive to. So it really is about recognizing that the anger itself isn't bad.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first idea. I was just working with someone this week, and they were furious about a situation, and they were holding it in because, you know, there was that, well, you know, they're a very spiritual person, and they know that everything happens for a reason. That's their belief, and that there's good that can come out of every situation. And they could see intellectually what was good about the situation, but that didn't stop the anger from being there, because the anger was like, hey, lady, this isn't working. We need to make a change. And so once they were able to express the anger, then they were like relaxed, and they were in this place of, you know, they were able to see the big picture, and then they could go in to the situation and communicate their needs in a clear, uncharged way, where the person could hear what they were saying. They didn't put up a defense because of the anger, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, the anger is there to give you power. It's your power. And so listen to it. Find a way to use it to your advantage, because it really does want to show you a better way for you, because, you know, there's something wrong. You're suffering in some way, and that's why the anger comes up. You're suffering, or someone you love is suffering. And there's that rise of power, this like, no, we need to fix this. We need to stop it. I won't say fix it because nothing is broken, but like it's not working. So the anger is there to help you.
Wow. Yes to all the things I'm going to say. You know, one of the things that I have talked about in the past is anger and how I used it and still use it to fuel my business, even my vision, my growth of what I'm building here. And, you know, one of the things that I talk about as far as success for me has been running away from a life that I don't want and running towards a life that I do want. You know, a lot of people talk about how important it is to be running towards something, make sure it's a positive and make sure there's a running towards it. Sometimes we get tired. So I talk about how I also use that negative, that fear, that anger, so that if I get a little tired, that pushes me until I can start running towards something again. Absolutely, totally agree. And what a great vision, I think, for people to really understand. Because I think everybody has been to a point in their life where they're so angry and then a massive shift happens. And that's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't always view it that way. But this is like a positive visualization you just gave us to be like, oh crap, yeah, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at all the huge changes that have happened in history, it's because people got pissed off. They were sick and tired of what was happening, and they organized and they made change. And it wasn't always pretty. I mean, there is a lot of violence that has happened to make massive change, right? It can be a pretty ugly, bloody business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, here we are in this new age. Let's figure out a way to get organized and make massive change without it being a bloody mess, right? This is the age of awakening where we can learn how to make positive change using that energy without hurting anyone. You know, what a miracle that is. What an incredible experience that is for us to have. And it starts with me. It starts with me recognizing that, you know, I have a situation with my spouse, it doesn't go the way I want it, or my needs aren't being met. You know, am I going to have the courage to own what I'm upset about and then express it in a safe way away from my spouse, and then come back to them when I'm clear and I'm calm and I have all this energy that I've reclaimed, so that I can have a conversation. I'm open to share what's happening for me, and I'm open to receive what's happening for my partner. And that is collaboration, because intimacy, my favorite saying about that is into me see. Into me see. That's intimacy. And it takes courage to let people into my world. Like, that was one of the most terrifying things, was to be loved, to let someone love me after everything that I'd experienced. That letting them in to love me, and realizing that's what they want. When you're in relationship, you get into a relationship looking to have your needs met, as is your partner. And it's like when you find the right partner, you know, you find someone that resonates for you, that your values are aligned. I mean, oh my God, the journey to learn to love each other more and more. And there's lots of messiness that happens through the years, and that's how you get to be closer, because you're breaking through these walls of conflict, which I talk about all of this stuff in my book, right? It's like, when you have a disagreement with somebody, you have the choice to resolve it, which means spending more energy and time with that person, or you can decide, you know what, actually, I'm going to cut and run. This isn't feeding me enough to exert more energy. So you're making that decision. So if you decide to stay, then it's all about letting them in to know what you need, and them having the courage to show you what they need, and you guys, negotiating and understanding and collaborating.
Yes. We have a question. Dane Walters is asking, isn't anger just disguised fear?
Isn't anger just disguised fear? That's interesting. I think anger it's unmet needs. That's how I've always, like Marshall Rosenberg, nonviolent communication. He has so many powerful conversations about that, unmet needs. Disguised fear. And does he want to tell us more about that?
Do you want to tell us more about that? I don't know. We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
I think this is absolutely phenomenal. A little bit of a pivot here. Oh, here he answered back really fast. Wow, he's here.
Thanks, Dave.
Fear of losing what you have or not getting what you want.
Yeah. Well, not getting what you want is definitely what's happening, because that's where the anger is coming from, is you're not getting what you want. So you're angry and you need to make a change. Absolutely. So it sounds like fear and anger are very close for you, Dane, but I would say that they are definitely separate. They have different motivations. Like fear is survival. Absolutely. Fear is about keeping us alive, and anger is about getting things done. So definitely not getting what you want. That's when the anger comes, so that you can make change. Thank you for a great insight there.
Yeah. A little bit of a pivot. Speaking of anger and fear, and the opposite of that, because I know you talk a lot about the importance of making room for joy. And I think this is an interesting pivot, because we're talking about how, for those of you that are just joining us, we have a few people joining us live again. Thank you for being here. We were just talking about anger and fear and how those are normal. And I wanted Heidi to expand a little bit on joy and how we can start to step into that in our lives.
Yes. Well, all of us come into the world as joy, as light. That is our natural state. I've never seen, babies start crying when there's something wrong. That's how we know there's something wrong, is they cry if they're hungry, they cry if they're tired, they cry if they're lonely. So we come into the world as joy, and then life happens and we have these different experiences. And so the experiences might be unpleasant, the emotions might be unpleasant, and this all stacks up on top of our joy, right? Like anger, fear, shame, guilt. And so by exploring these things that are stacked up, expressing and releasing them, it's making room for the joy to shine out naturally, because you never stop being joy. You never stop having access to joy. It's just other things get in the way. And so this is, I'm part of a program, a website called A Year of Joy. Andrew Cannon and Debbie Sussinger-Hellman created the art and science of joy. They did all this research to find the recipe for happiness, to share it with the world, because in these days, in this day and age, we need as much as we can get. And they created this free website, a membership site, A Year of Joy, that is full of resources to help people connect with their joy. So I am on there. There are dozens and dozens of experts sharing about how to look after yourself physically, how to look after yourself emotionally, because well-being is a pillar of joy. So the 4 pillars are well-being, belonging, purpose, and fun. So those are the 4 pillars of joy. And then they have all these subsections that we each have different things that we individually collect for fun, that we individually need for belonging, that we individually need for purpose, and for physical well-being, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So it's a free website. You can find out all about this on my website, which freeyourselfliveyourdreams.com is my free yourself, live your dreams is what I want for everyone out there, to free yourself from anything in the way of your dreams. That's my business name. An easy website, Heidi Coach, HEIDI coach.com. That's where you'll find out about me. That's where you'll find out about A Year of Joy, which, as I said, is a free resource. So you're going to connect online with like-minded people, and you're going to have all these speakers and exercises and resources to help you plug back into your joy.
It's interesting listening to you talk about this, because I know that your story includes a whole lot of anxiety and addiction and just some really intense experiences.
Yes.
When did this pivot happen? How did this happen?
Well, the biggest pivot would be, well, I guess that's relative. Okay. So I stopped drinking when I was 35 years old. So for most of my life, drugs and alcohol that was my tool for dealing with all the intense emotions that I had. And even though I was doing all these spiritual explorations during that time, because I started looking at age 15 for ways to feel better, I was self-sabotaging with drugs and alcohol. And so from 35 on, I started doing all these different personal development courses, which led me to accelerated evolution, which is a powerful modality that I love. And this is what I'm involved with now. This is what I use with my one-on-one coaching. And I'm also involved in the Accelerated Evolution Academy, which trains individuals on how to do these practices, these spiritual practices that are so powerful for shifting our consciousness. And that happened. I found that when I was 50 years old, 50. And that's the one that liberated me from those last tendrils of victimhood about my past. Yeah, because the victim is necessary. That's why we have the victim mindset happens because it's necessary for survival. And like everything else I've talked about, it's a limited time offer. Like the victim mindset is meant for a limited time to get us through the pain of the initial pain and shock of what's happened. And then holding on to it past that, it actually starts to hurt us instead of help us. It starts to shut us down. It starts to take away our power. And so that is, accelerated evolution was the key to unlocking that last, the last link to the victim mindset. And it's what freed me to accelerate my expansion, like taking all of the energy that had been stuck in hatred for the perpetrator and shame. I couldn't do anything differently. All of those things I was able to express those and then claim the energy from them to do what I do now, to share my story as raw as I did in the book, to let other people know that, there is a way out, there is a light, you're not what happened to you. You're not what happened to you. You are an infinite being. You are powerful beyond your imagination.
Mhm.
Like all of us are light and energy, and we've come to this plane to have an experience and to know what it is to reclaim our power. And
Powerful. Powerful. We're talking a lot about emotions here. I just realized. We have fear on the table. We have anger. We have joy. Um, Shifting our emotions.
yes, and I would love to share a simple practice with you. We'll do something easy. Are you up for this? Are you up for a little experiment for you and your audience?
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Excellent. Beautiful. Okay. So what we're going to do is, as we promised, we're going to show you how to use your imagination to connect with your powerful self. So Sabrina, what I want you to do is I want you to think of a character trait that you would like more of. And like whether it's confidence, whether it's, eloquent speaker, or, whatever comes up. Have you got something?
Sure.
Excellent. Okay. Now I want you to think of somebody that you know, and it can be someone living or dead. It can be a fictional character or a real person, someone that demonstrates this character trait that you admire.
That's so funny because I had the character as soon as you asked me the first question.
Excellent. Okay. So we're going to do a practice, and we're going to awaken this character trait inside of you, because as I forget who said this to me, but the saying is, if you spot it, you got it.
Okay.
So if you see something in someone else, whether it's confidence or, they're beautiful, they're smart, they're funny, they're great with money, they're successful, whatever it is that you see in someone else, the reason you're noticing it is because you have it inside. Okay.
Mm.
So when you're noticing this character trait in this, you're noticing this trait that you want more of in this character, it's because you already have it inside of you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you in a moment. I'm going to have you close your eyes. And what's going to happen is I'm going to have you feel into yourself. So feeling yourself here and now. And I'm going to ask you to notice 4 elements in your experience, because our mind categorizes things in 4 elements: images, thoughts, emotions, and body sensations. And that is how you get the information. So you'll be feeling into yourself, and you'll be noticing what are the images you see, what are the thoughts that you're hearing in your mind, what are the emotions that are arising, what are the body sensations. So you're using your imagination, you're feeling into you, you're feeling as strong as you can, and then I'm going to ask you to say something about it. And then we're going to let go of that, and then you're going to feel this character that has this trait. And so you're going to remember a time when they were demonstrating this trait. They were at the top of their game, and you were just, you were witnessing them, and you were in awe of what they were doing. And so again, you'll be noticing the images. What are you seeing? What are the thoughts going through your mind as you're feeling this individual? So whether it's a character or a person, you're feeling them, you're seeing them in your imagination. They're doing this thing where you noticed how confident they were, or how smart they are, or whatever the case is. So you're noticing them, and you're feeling your emotions, your body sensations, hearing your thoughts and the images you see. So we're going to go back and forth between these two. And then I'll be directing you to feel them both at the same time as strongly as you can. And then I'll ask you to say something about that. And so what ends up happening is that these two things that were so separate at the beginning, over the experience of feeling them, they're going to come together. They're going to become one. They're going to be no difference between them. So you don't need to force that to happen. It will just organically, naturally happen. So you're not holding on to one or the other because you think, one side is better. You're just feeling it as strong as you can, releasing it, and feeling the other as strongly as you can and releasing it. Okay. Do you have any questions for me, Sabrina?
Are you going to guide me back and forth?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll be guiding you all, whoever's listening, who's ever listening now live or listening in the recording. So just go ahead and get comfortable. All right. So Sabrina, normally if I was coaching you, I would put you on mute because then you can say whatever you want. That's not the best choice for you in the podcast. So just whisper under your breath, whatever it is that comes up for you. Or if you're feeling transparent, you can just say whatever it is. It's up to you.
Okay. Do I close my eyes?
Yes, you want to close your eyes or cast your gaze downward.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead and take a slow inhale and exhale. Just coming into this present moment, letting go of everything that came before. Breathing into your body, feeling your seat on the ground and your feet on the floor, feeling your seat in the chair and your feet on the floor. And as you exhale, letting go of everything that needs your attention after, knowing that it will all be taken care of. So this time is just for you. So I need you to give me your full presence. Do this to the best of your ability and stay with the practice until the end. Are you willing to do that?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
Okay. So just breathing normally. I want you to feel yourself here and now. So feeling you in this moment, noticing the images that pass through your mind, the thoughts you hear, any emotions that arise, any body sensations. Feel yourself fully and deeply. And even magnify what you're experiencing, like make it stronger. The colors are brighter, the thoughts are repeating. The emotion, you can make it stronger in your imagination. You can intensify the body sensations. And then say something into the space. Just go with whatever comes up.
Content.
Thank you. You're doing great. Now let go of that, set that aside. And now I want you to feel your role model. So you're seeing them at the top of their game. So you're noticing the images, seeing them when you were just like, wow. Noticing the thoughts going through your mind, noticing how it feels in your body, what emotions are happening, what body sensations as you're feeling your role model. So magnify everything that's happening for you. And say something about it.
Powerful.
Thank you. So close the door, let go of that. Feel you here and now. Noticing the emotions, the body sensations, the images, the thoughts. Feel you as strongly as you can. Say something about you.
Powerful.
Thank you. Let go of that and now feel your role model. Feel your role model fully and deeply. Make it as strong and real as you can in your imagination. Say something about it.
Solid.
Thank you. Let go of that. You're doing wonderfully. Now feel you here and now. Feel you as strongly as you can. Noticing the images, thoughts, emotions, body sensations. Say something about you.
2 feet on the ground.
Thank you. Let go of that. Feel your role model. Feeling them at the top of their game. Just noticing what's happening in you as you're witnessing their brilliance. Say something about them.
Feminine confidence.
Thank you. And just let that go, set that aside. And now I want you to feel both you and your role model. Feel them at the same time as strongly as you can. And feeling them both intensely. Take a slow inhale through your nose. And then exhale out your mouth. And notice what's happening between them. Does it feel like they're coming together slowly? Are they moving toward each other?
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, you're doing great. So now set that aside. And we're going to do this again a little bit quicker. You're doing wonderfully. So just breathe in and out. And feel you. Magnify the images, thoughts, emotions, body sensations. Say something about you.
Tall.
Thank you. Let that go. Feel your role model. Feel them as strongly and as real as you can. Say something about.
Coy.
Thank you. Let go of that. Feel you here and now. Say something about you. Now set that aside and feel your role model. So feel your role model as strongly and deeply as you can. And say something about your role model. You're doing great. Now set that aside and feel you again, here and now. And say something about you.
Certainty.
Thank you. Set that aside and feel again your role model. Say something about your role model.
Forward.
Thank you. So let go of that. You're doing great. Now feel you and your role model at the same time. So feeling them both as strongly as you can. And then breathe in. Exhale out your mouth. And what's happening between them.
Rising.
Say again.
Rising.
Rising? Thank you. So does it feel like they're moving towards each other?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. Let that go. Set that aside. You're doing terrific. We're going to do it again, which is perfectly normal part of the process. So feel you here and now. Say something about you.
Calm.
Thank you. Close the door on that. Feel your role model. Say something about it.
Own.
Thank you. Let go of that. You're doing great. Feel you here and now. Feeling whatever you haven't felt before, just going with the first things that arise. Say something about you.
Community.
Thank you. Set that aside and feel your role model. You're doing great. All of you in the audience, you're doing great. Feel your role model. Say something about your role model.
Slender.
Thank you. So let that go. Close the door on the role model. And again, feel you here and now. Say something about you in this moment.
Ownership.
Thank you. So set that aside, everybody. And now feel your role model. Feeling everything you haven't, whatever's there. Say something about your role model.
Poised.
Thank you. So close the door on that. And now feel you and your role model as strongly as you can at the same time. So feeling both as strongly as you can. Breathe in. And then exhale. And what's happening between them?
Merging.
Thank you. So does it feel like there's no difference between them, or can you feel them separate even a little?
They feel the same.
Thank you. So Sabrina, I want you to just feel into this place, and I'm going to lead the audience through another round. So you just breathe into where you are and feel this feeling of them being that there's no difference. And for the rest of you, we'll do this one more time. So feel you here and now. Say something about you into the space. Great. So close the door on that. Feel your role model as strongly as you can. Say something about your role model. Wonderful. Close the door on that. Feel you here and now. Say something about you. Great. Set that aside. Feel your role model. Say something about it. Let that go. Feel you here and now. And say something into the space. Beautiful. Set that aside and feel your role model. And say something about your role model. Well done. Let that go. And now feel them both. Feel you here and now and your role model. Feel them as strongly as you can. Then take an inhale through your nose. Exhale at your mouth. And notice what's happening between them. Now they've come together. So there's no difference. However the wording is for you, they've merged. So now all of you with Sabrina feel into this place where they're the same. Surrender into it. And now, how would you describe this feeling, Sabrina?
Warm.
Thank you. So feel this feeling of yourself, everyone. And imagine this feeling is flowing infinitely in front of you. Feel this feeling of yourself and imagine it flowing infinitely behind you. Feel this feeling of yourself and it's cascading effortlessly to the left, effortlessly to the right. Feel this feeling of yourself, it's flowing infinitely beneath you. Feel this feeling of yourself, it's rising infinitely above you. Now feel this feeling is flowing out of you in all directions simultaneously with ease. So just breathe and feel this in all directions. And when you're ready, at your own pace, you can slowly open your eyes. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And so, will you share with us something you're more conscious of after that experience?
I kind of felt like kind of what you said before we got started, where if you're feeling a connection to somebody, it's because they're already in you. I kind of, when I was towards the end, when I felt her, like I just pictured her like sitting like in me or on me or something. I was almost like, I already got this.
Wow, thank you. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to share that with you and to share it with your audience as well.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful. Definitely very powerful. And I also feel like the who do you have to be, to get what you want, and being able to, the word that's coming to me is elicit, but that's not really the right word. The right. But this was wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yes. And so what happens is when you have an experience like this, you have a place to go back to. So you know what you want and you know who you want to be, who you need to be. You can see who you need to be to have the life that you want, to make the changes that you want, whatever it is that's happening for you. And, it might not be happening right now, but going there in your imagination, that gives you the juice. It's like, oh yeah, I've got this. Okay. And these kinds of visualizations give people little nuggets of wisdom that help them move closer to what it is they do want.
I can see that
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, there was a few words that I said so I was thinking of Olivia Pope, but there was a few words that I said where I only, like she had it and I didn't.
Mm.
But then like when I would say, what is she, like when you were like, what is she? And I would say a word, I almost had a hard time eliciting my word. That's why there was like pauses, because I was like, wait a minute, I could say that same thing about me. The other thing that was also very interesting, not that it matters, but I was having a hard time thinking of words because I was like, I was envisioning her and I couldn't think of like what the word is to describe it. It was like almost out of this universe powerful that I couldn't, like my brain couldn't think of a word to describe it, but I had it. I like knew what it was,
Yeah.
but couldn't think of a word, which was
Yes.
interesting.
Thank you. And so this is when this kind of things happens, you know, you can say the image that you see, you could say the body sensation that you're having, you could say the thought. So any one of these things, the emotion, right? Any one of these things, it doesn't have to make logical sense. It just, you can express whatever's coming up for you.
Beautiful. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I loved
So
it.
if I may, whether you will share this with us or not, for all of the audience, what I would ask you to do is to journal about your experience that you just had. So, you know, what are you more conscious of? And what's your new story after this experience? What's your new perspective? Right? What's changed for you in the way that you see life? What can you do different? Like, what can you do now after this awakening of this character trait that you couldn't do before?
Ooh, what can I do now? I think a lot of it was, and I have a hard time saying this because I feel like I do this. So I don't feel like it's fair for me to say that now I'm going to do this because I feel like I do this. So again, going right back to what you said in the beginning, right? But what is coming up for me and the trait that I appreciate, that I intend to do, is quick, decisive, confident decision making.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I feel like she's so sure and she's so confident, and there's no like second guessing or days of contemplating. Like she finds something, I mean, it's a show, but like she finds
Oh
something
yeah, I
out,
love that show.
she finds something out, and then she's just like 30 seconds later, she has a plan, she's ready to go, and we're acting on it. And it's so powerful, you know.
So what I'm hearing is that you're doing this already. And so maybe it's about claiming that you're doing it already, claiming that this is, you know, that you are powerful in this way and that you are able to make these snap decisions, that you know, it's happening. So it's like we can do something And then we can do it with a different intention. And it's almost like that thing changes because of the power of the intention behind it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. And the last question I would ask the audience is to write down a simple action that you can take in the next 24 hours, because these insights are meant to be used. And this is how you make change, right, Sabrina? You do things differently. This is what you talk about all the time, is you're empowering people, women. This is what you've done in your life, is you take action. So by taking a small action with this new insight from this experience, is you're changing your life. And like you talked about earlier, Sabrina, it only takes a little thing. And over time, that little thing, it's like one of those graphs, right? It exponentially changes. If you keep doing that little thing over and over and over, the change is massive.
Yeah.
Right?
The slight edge. Fantastic. This is great. Thank you so much, Heidi.
My pleasure.
You're wonderful.
You're wonderful, right? We're a reflection of each other. And I'm very grateful for your invitation to be here. Like, you know, one of our friends introduced us, and you were open and you were welcoming and you were beautiful and kind, and such enthusiasm you have.
Thank you.
To share knowledge with your audience, because as we know, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So bless your heart for empowering the women in your community and your life.
Yes, of course. Thank you. So we have a ton of people still here after an hour. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that some of you did the exercise and didn't just listen to Heidi's beautiful voice. But I hope you actually did the exercise. And if you didn't, always go back, right? This stays here forever. So go back, replay, and maybe put into the comments some of your, some of your takeaways from all of this. But I want to ask Heidi, as we're kind of closing up here, who should be reaching out to you? Who do you help? Who should be contacting you or checking you out?
Okay, thank you. I work with people that are sensitive beings, right? They feel their emotions so strongly. And if you're like me, I talk about this in the book, for most of my life, that was shunned and I closed it down. So I work with people that are sensitive and powerful, have powerful emotions, and they're looking for a safe place to explore these emotions and the power within them. So I help people with goals. I help people explore their past, to mine the tragedy into triumph. That's what I do. So I offer a complimentary call. So you can go to my website and there's a link there and we can have a conversation. So if you feel called to learn more about what I do, then please reach out and let's have a call.
Awesome. Should they go to HeidiCoach.com or?
Yes, they're the same. Heidi Coach goes to freeyourselfliveyourdreams.com.
Beautiful.
It's just easier to remember.
Yes. Okay. Very cool. Well, this has been absolutely phenomenal. Heidi, why do you do what you do?
Because I know people are powerful and I want them to experience how powerful they are.
Yes. This is great. For those of you watching live, for those of you watching on the replay, if you resonate with Heidi and all the goodness that she shared today, make sure to check out her website, HeidiCoach.com. Where do you hang out on social media, by the way? Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn?
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Beautiful. All right. We love to connect people here in order to make sure that we all continue to rise. That brings us to an end of yet another incredible episode of Her Talk Show. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our amazing guest speaker, Miss Heidi, for sharing her wisdom and inspiring us all. To each and every one of you, our dedicated listeners, thank you for staying with us until the very end. Your support and engagement means the world to us. Remember to follow, like, and share, and join us for our next episode for more enlightening thoughts. My name is Sabrina Victoria. I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation, where we continue to have transformative conversations just like this. As always,